Cool. Well, the first thing we want to get into is whenever we met about a month ago, we were hanging here at this office with Chaz, of course, Chaz Smith, dope dude. We were talking a little bit about pretty much like creativity and like our creative process and figuring out kind of what works for each of us and just tossing around different ideas, and then also just like our vision for our creativity to kind of ground in and make sure that everything that we're doing is kind of consistent with what we think our long-term goal is. And you were talking a little bit just how, you know, you were working on that a little bit, figuring it out, and continuing just to kind of see how you can honor the Lord in that. So what's that going to look like over the last couple months, and what do you think your vision is?
Yeah, so for me, it's actually been a month of refinement, and so, or a season of refinement, actually. And so it's been a lot of fun, actually, just being able to figure out, like, God, like, what is the vision for this next season? Because I think just over time, sometimes things evolve for what God is calling you to do. Like, for this chapter, he might be calling you to do this, and then it might be like, okay, we're closing that chapter, and it's time to move on to something else. So for me, like, it just kind of looks like spending time with the Lord and, like, literally asking, like, God, like, what do you want me to do? And sometimes it's not an immediate answer. Sometimes you just have to serve during the process. And as you're serving and continue to love God and live life, just over time, like, he'll speak to you and he'll give you an answer. And so for me, I think it was a couple months, though, of not hearing an answer. And I was like, bruh, like, I don't know. And so, but he finally gave me an answer, which I'm super excited about. And so, like, my new motto for, like, moving forward is win within. And so, like, basically, it's also my brand as well. And so with that, God has been showing me, like, just to empower other people to remember, like, all these material possessions and accomplishments outside in the world that people are trying to say, like, that's how you are successful, or, like, that's the goal. Like, remember, like, that's actually not the goal. Like, the goal is actually within you. And so if you're not actually having a relationship with God, if you're not winning in that area, in that arena, then, like, everything else is irrelevant. And he's also just been showing me, too, just, like, that can also just be in your interpersonal relationships. So one thing I've learned, just because I'm an artist, I interact with, like, hundreds of thousands of people all the time who like are battling for my attention. Like, God has showed me the importance of just the people he's placed in your life, in your inner circle. And so God has also been showing me just like win within that circle, within your inner circle as well. Because, like, even if you look at Jesus, right? Jesus literally could have talked to anybody he wanted, and there was thousands of people around whenever he was alive walking on earth. But he had his 12 disciples, and he had his people who he was also called to intentionally pour into, or people who he intentionally was like, okay, this is the person I'm healing today. And so he's just kind of been teaching me as well, this discernment within, like, focusing on him, and then also focusing on, like, who are the people who he's placed in my life, and, like, how can I win in that area and make sure they feel supported and make sure they feel loved and everything.